Welcome to this tutorial where we'll be showing the keyframe grabber sample pipeline. So what the keyframe grabber does is it gets any keyframes from the video that you send. And this can be used for, let's say like you want to know how many times your favorite actor shows up in a movie, or when the delivery driver comes from your security footage, right? This will all be stored in your vector database, and it's easy to pull this based off of semantics. This is the pipeline itself, right? It's already running. It's just simply, it's the webhook into the frame grabber. This is where the actual keyframes are being grabbed, right? It gets downsized through the thumbnail connector, embedded through the embedder connector, and then it's sent into the Qdrant vector store, right? So this is an example of what one of the keyframes would be. This was from our webinar a couple weeks ago. And as you can see, it's a frame straight from the video. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to actually run it. So let's start from a new pipeline. So if we go to home, go to new project, this one is the video keyframe grabber, right? For the most part, everything should be set up for you. The only thing that you do need to add is your credentials into the Qdrant connector. So there's two types of vector stores that you can use, either the cloud or your own vector server that'll be locally hosted. For this case, we're going to be using cloud. It's a little bit easier to use. But if you do want to use the local host, there is documentation online to help you with that. So the first thing you need for Qdrant Cloud server is the host IP. This can be grabbed from the Qdrant website whenever you create your collection. And as for everything else, you can change the retrievable score. I'm going to keep it on the default related just to keep it neutral. And for the collection name, you can name it whatever you want. I'll just say Aparavi. So now that you have all your credentials in, your pipeline is ready to run. But first, before I run it, I want to go into a little bit more detail. I think this one needs a little bit more explanation. So first is the webhook connector, right? This lets you send in files through HTTP requests. And then after that is the data parser. For the most part, most files that you're sending through here should be video files. The webhook should be able to understand what they are, but if not, it'll be sent through the data parser, and then it'll be processed properly, right? Next is the video frame grabber. This is where the actual magic of this pipeline happens, right? As you can see here, there's 5 parameters that you can have. First is the mode. So basically what type of frames are being grabbed, either from intervals, which is basically just every 5 or 10 seconds. Keyframes, which is what we're going to be using, which is essentially just what the algorithm believes is a keyframe, right? And then scene transitions. This is mainly just when there's a distinct change in what the video is actually outputting, right? For now, we'll just keep it on keyframes. Next is the image thumbnail. This essentially just downsizes the frame that you have. You don't need a crazy high resolution frame to be embedded into your vector store. That'll just take up so much time and resources. Next is the actual embedding, the image embedding connector. There's multiple models for this. We'll just keep the OpenAI, the standard 16 by 16. But any model will do. Finally, we have the vector store that we set up earlier. We're using Qdrant for this pipeline, but you can use any of the vector stores that we have, like VVA, Pinecone, Milvus, just any of them will work, right? Okay, so now that's the full pipeline, we can run it. So I'll press play next to webhook, and this will pull up the project log. In a few seconds, the webhook URL will pop up, and this is what we use to actually process the HTTP requests. We'll be using an API tester for this. For this case, we'll be using Talend. Any API tester will do. We just like Talend because it's easy to use. It's a Chrome extension. It's really fast. So now we have the webhook URL. We'll go to Talend. We will paste it into here. And as for the query parameters, what you need to pay attention to is the API key. This needs to be added as a header under authorization. You paste that there. And then we need a second header, which will be the content type. This is to actually say what type of content we're sending, right? You don't have to put a value there. It'll automatically decide what file you're sending. And then for the method, we need to change it from get to put. And yeah, now if you go to body, by default, it might be on text. Make sure it's on the file option. And now you can actually drop in your file. So this is the video that we're using. This is just from our webinar a couple weeks ago. Right? So once that's put in, then we should be good to go, and I'll press send. Okay, now you can see we got a good response, 200 okay. So now you can see this is the output. This is in body. This is the JSON that is given to us. We don't actually need anything from the body. We can just go straight to our Qdrant UI. And if we see here, so if we click into that, we can see, yeah, here's our points, right? And the images are returned in base 64. This is just easier for programs to process. But if we actually want to see the image, we will copy this whole entire thing. And for this case, we'll just be using just a standard online base 64 to image converter, just for simplicity reasons. And yeah, that's our image in the bottom. So if I right click, open image in new tab, we can see that, yeah, here's our thumbnail, 16 by 16. And if we just want to cross-reference it really quick with the actual video itself, yeah, that's our frame right there, pretty much. So yeah, that was the keyframe grabber using a vector store. Thank you so much for listening to this tutorial. I can't wait to see what you guys can do with it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.